And Madam Speaker, that leads me exactly to the question, is there a deal, even though you might not want to take the deal, is there any deal you could take it all from the Republicans? I mean, you and the minority leader, Chuck Schumer, said today it's an emaciated bill. Is there a bill at all even for an emaciated bill? Because as you said, some people say not $1.
Well, what Senator McConnell put forth is fraudulent. It is, as Leader Schumer said, emaciated. It's not, they call it a skinny bill, and he calls it an emaciated bill, and I join him in that. It's only a check the box so that some of his endangered Republican senators can go home and say, well, see, I tried. But it isn't trying. It's not even an attempt to do the right thing. And Mitch McConnell knows that because he has to satisfy those Republicans in his caucus who don't want to spend one more dollar, whether it's feeding the food insecure children in our country, saving their families from eviction, stopping the dismantling of the Postal Service so that people can vote without risking their health, with, again, first and foremost, crushing the virus and putting money into the pockets of the American people. What they have is so meager that it insults the intelligence of the American people, does not solve the problem, and it is not. Again, we know that we have to compromise. We know we have to negotiate in order to reach an agreement. We all want an agreement. Make no mistake about that. But get serious, get real, Mitch McConnell.
Well, let's talk about what...
He paused. He pushed the pause. Remember, May 15th, when we passed our bill, he pushed the pause button. It wasn't until the last few weeks that he's now even coming up with a suggestion. In that time, nearly 5 million more people have become infected since he pushed the pause button, and nearly over 100,000 people have died.
So talk about what it means to get serious. And I guess part of my question is, get serious with whom? Is it Senator McConnell that you're negotiating with? Is it Secretary of the Treasury Mnuchin? Is it Mark Meadows up at the White House? Who's on the other side of the negotiating table from you to get to a deal?
Certainly not Mark Meadows. But in terms of the negotiation, the Republicans have to negotiate among themselves. Mitch McConnell has this pathetic bill, which is half of what the Secretary Mnuchin has proposed. So they aren't even in agreement. They are in disarray. We have said we would come down. First, we came down $1 trillion. Then we came down and further and said we would meet them halfway. And some of that is because we can put off the timing of some of ours. We're not being Sophie's choice by saying we're feeding some children and not others. It's about timing, and we can have that negotiation. But to ignore those needs, how could they ignore the virus and the spread of it and the cost to our economy, our education system, and the rest? So two of the sticking points for us are state and local government, which, by the way, not only meets many needs of the American people, but provides over 90% of the public education system in our country, meeting our education needs. And then further money that is needed, coronavirus-centric in terms of education, we're probably double what they want to do. And of course, the funding for crushing the virus. There would be 3 areas where we're pretty far apart.
Madam Speaker, on the state and local assistance particularly, you know what the arguments on the other side. They don't want the money to go for things like what they would call bloated pension plans. Are you willing to attach restrictions that say it really goes for things specifically related to COVID-19?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say those are reasons that they're not doing it. I think those are excuses because they don't believe in governance. They don't believe in science, therefore they haven't gone with the testing, tracing, treatment, isolation, mask wearing, etc. They don't believe in science, and they don't believe in governance. So there is this money for that we've wanted state and local government is for a very specific coronavirus-centric purpose, to offset some of the expenses that have already, the outlays that have already been made to fight the virus and meet the needs, the health needs of people infected. And secondly, to talk about the loss of revenue because of the shutdowns around the country. That, again, having that in there will prevent further firing. People will have to be let off from work, and then they'll go on unemployment insurance. So where have you saved money by reducing services to the American people and having state governments are telling us we're going to have to raise taxes, fire people, and reduce services. unless we get these resources. So what the Republicans are saying is really quite sad, because they know that this money is corona-centric, and you have to document the need in order to get the money.
Madam Speaker, as you describe this, I'm not sure how you get there from here, given the process you've described, because it's not clear exactly with whom you're negotiating or that they have anything that they can negotiate, because some of their members don't want to spend any money at all. How do we get there, particularly given the fact that you're going to have to go on recess to get back to campaign back in home districts pretty soon?
Well, we'll be here for the month of September at least, or as long as it takes. We have to make sure that government is not shut down. As the president so proudly announced, he would take pride in shutting down the government the last time it was shut down. So we'll come to agreement on that, I feel quite certain. We have other initiatives that we need to put forward, and some of them go directly to making sure that the American people, that we are, again, making the scientific decision to crush the virus, to honor our heroes with state and local resources, and putting money in the pockets of the American people, and at the same time ensuring that people are able to vote without risking their life or their health, so that they can vote safely, ignoring what the president is saying about vote by mail, which he does, and instead having confidence that their vote will be counted as cast. So we have a tall order to address here. And if you don't believe in science, as they obviously do not, and you don't believe in governance, as many of them do not, they don't want to even spend any money to honor the science, then there's a strong difference of opinion. And we cannot, we will find agreement. I know we will. But in order for that to happen, they're going to have to come to their own agreement instead of being hundreds of billions of dollars apart between what Mitch McConnell is doing and what Secretary Mnuchin has suggested.